What's going on, guys? So we've been playing a ton of Stellaris. I think I've logged over 50 hours so far. We've been doing quite a few multiplayer games. I wanted to share my top 10 tips for multiplayer games. So I'm going to bring up one of my saves from my previous multiplayer game. So tip number 10 is to always expand. Always be expanding. That is how you grow a massive empire. As you can see, my Trump empire here has eclipsed pretty much everything around it. The way you do this is by spamming as many colony ships as you possibly can within your energy constraints. Every colony ship, once built, will take 8 energy credits. So as long as you have a nice surplus and you can colonize it and have the colony set up before you run out of energy credits, you should be good. You also need to pick good colonies in order to colonize. Colonies with the best growth are usually larger planets with 20 plus tiles. As you can see here, this colony has 24 tiles. It's a pretty good one, but it has a lot of tile blockers. If you're putting this in a sector, it's not too bad. You can still get quite a lot of income from it, and it also expands your borders by quite a lot. In previous Paradox games, there would be quite a lot of penalties for putting out rapid expansion like this, since you'd essentially be invading other countries. Here, since a lot of the galaxy is unexplored depending on your settings, it's very advantageous to expand everywhere you possibly can, trying to avoid the fallen empires so you don't enrage them into destroying your fledgling empire. Tip number 9 is to always embassy your neighbors and rival the players. So what this allows you to do is, if you embassy your friendly neighbors, it'll increase their opinion of you. So right here I have a plus 100 because my embassy has been there for a while, and it makes them less likely to invade you or attack you. This means that you can invade them and attack them on your terms, as opposed to them randomly declaring war when you're not ready. And if you rival players, you get that nice juicy influence gain up here. As you can see, I'm currently in an alliance. I'm losing 2, but if I had this player rival, I'd be gaining 0.4 influence each month. If you're playing against players, you know, their opinion of you is not going to be reflected in these charts here. If they're going to invade you, they're going to invade you, even if they're at 200 opinion, because players will do whatever the hell they want. They're basically little Hitlers. Tip number 8 is to always trade star charts. That's how I was able to see all of this stuff out here, and that's actually how I was able to see all this stuff up here. And if they have surveyed colonizable planets, you'll be able to see that and instantly colonize it without having to send a survey ship out there. Tip number 7 is don't mess with fallen empires. As you can see here, we have this fallen empire. They're very characteristically circular in shape. You can also click on them, and it'll show you what type of empire they are. You can see this one is a militant isolationist. So this means that they do not like having anyone next to their borders. So as you can see, this player decided to border this fallen empire, and we were chatting before. He didn't actually realize this was a fallen empire. So eventually he's going to find this fallen empire, and they're going to request him to abandon this planet. That means that he has a choice to either abandon this planet or go to war with this fallen empire. Fallen Empire usually has about 4 to 5 stacks of 20k fleets, and they will completely obliterate everything in the early to mid game. You do not want to mess with them, especially in the early to mid game. Even in the late game, it's not really worth it when you can be conquering other players or other AI civilizations. Alright, tip number 6 is to have a good war strategy. So this means being very dedicated in your ship designer to the best tech that you have and constantly upgrading your ships. So as you can see here, we're using these small armored torpedoes, and we're using small little corvettes. If we go over to our fleet, it consists completely of little corvettes. Our leader actually has a bonus to evasion of +5, and their speed is +20. He also has another bonus of +15 evasion. So total, we have +20 evasion in this fleet. He also has -15 ship upkeep, so that means it's a lot cheaper on my energy. So you can see here they have 37.5 evasion. So that means that there's a 37.5 chance that all of the enemy weapons are going to miss. So as you can see here, autocannons have an accuracy of 82%, so that accuracy is going to get lowered by the evasion bonus of 32.5. So they pretty much only have a 50% chance of hitting. So that's huge in battle. Another strategy I'm going with only a corvette build is that they're going to over-damage things. If they have medium weapons, there's a chance that their medium weapons are going to over-penetrate or over-damage our corvettes, or they're going to shoot, if they have torpedoes, more torpedoes than are needed to actually blow up the corvette. So they're going to have wasted ammo or wasted shots fired. That's going to lower their DPS, and it's going to mean that more corvettes are going to survive and be able to put out the hurt. Another strategy during a war is to cripple their infrastructure. You definitely don't want to do this if you're going to be seeding or taking over their planets, because then that's wasted resources that you have to go rebuild. But if your goal is to just take over 1 or 2 planets and leave the rest of them, you want to be able to cripple them so they're not going to be able to re-attack 10 years from now. So when you're coming into a system like this, the first thing you want to do is to obviously take care of any fleets. You want to try and lure their fleets away from the spaceport so that they engage out in the open, and you want to win decisively. A 2-to-1 advantage is usually preferred, but you know, sometimes you gotta, if you have better ships that are better equipped, you can, you know, do a little bit less than the 2-to-1 advantage. Once you've taken care of any fleets in the system, you want to move into the spaceport here and destroy that. Once you've destroyed the spaceport, you want to move into orbit of the planet and start bombarding these fortifications. It's pretty much impossible for you to invade a planet with full fortifications. After some amount of time, the fortifications will degrade and you'll be able to move on to invading the planet. As they're invading, a good thing to do is to split up your fleets and have them go around blowing up all the infrastructure if you don't plan on actually seeding this planet or taking over this planet after the war is over. So as you can see here, there's quite a lot of minerals in this system. So that's the first thing I prioritize. I'd split up my fleet, like so. The hotkey is V, so it'll split it in half. We can just send these guys to go boom, 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 and send the other fleet to go like boom, 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 using shift and right click. And they'll move to the corresponding sectors and go blow up all of those infrastructure facilities. Obviously, this is my own sector, so they're not going to blow up my own stuff, but you get the picture. There's no reason having that fleet there if they're just orbiting. And if any fleets come in, you can just reorganize your fleet, bring them back together with shift clicking, hitting G as a keybind, and they'll come together. Unfortunately, for when they're regrouping, only one fleet will actually regroup. Another thing you can do, let's put these guys back up and set them apart. So, in order to get them to regroup quicker, you can actually do the same thing, hit G, and then actually move the top fleet down, and they'll regroup in the middle. Tip number 5 is to micromanage your leaders. As you can see here, I have a ton of admirals. These guys actually got recruited through previous battles. There's no reason to have all these admirals if I only have 1 or 2 fleets. So we're just going to get rid of them. As you can see, our leaders tab decreases when we're getting rid of these guys, and we want to utilize all of these leaders when possible. So we're going to go over to our planets and our sectors and ensure that they all have leaders. So we're going to recruit a governor, check the stats, and pick who's going to be the best person. I usually like to pick whoever's the youngest and whoever has the best modifier. This one seems perfect because he has a decrease in building cost and a decrease in construction time. So we're going to go ahead and select that guy. He's going to live a long time and he's going to be very helpful for our sector. Every time we recruit somebody, you get a new option. The other 2 options remain the same. So for this sector, the new leader was a slave mineral outfit and a slave food outfit. So if you had slavery, this would be a very good leader for that sector. Of course, I don't have any slaves at this point, so we're going to go with the leader that has increased leader experience. Over time, he'll get more traits that hopefully will be beneficial to this sector. Now we're going to look at our technology tab and make sure that we are micromanaging our scientists so they're maximizing their research. As you can see, they currently have an increase of plus 11, plus 21, plus 11 due to the traits that they currently have. They don't have any modifiers due to their research speed. As you can see here, our leader down here has an increase of statecraft by plus 10%, and this guy is currently researching statecraft. So if we move this guy all the way up here, it would do it 10% faster. So we're going to go ahead and do that, even though there's only 1 month left. So we're going to move him up there. We're going to hit yes, accept it, and now it's plus 21, so plus 10% increase because we moved that leader over. Now we can assign a new leader. We can recruit a new leader that has Voidcraft. Fortunately, we don't have any leaders that do Voidcraft. Let's see if we can recruit one. And unfortunately, the luck of the draws, no leaders have Voidcraft, but this leader has an increase of research speed. So we're going to recruit that guy, and he has a plus 5% in research speed. So you can see here, we have that plus 5, a total of plus 9. And it's a little bit faster for us to upgrade our spaceports. Going back to our leaders tab, we still have 4 unoccupied leaders. So we're going to go to our planets, and we're going to start assigning some leaders to these planets to try and increase their output. So the way you do that is you click on the planet, see there's currently no governor, we change that, and we recruit a new one. All of these guys have slave mineral output increases. We don't have any slaves on this planet, but we just want the bonus of having a governor there, and hopefully he learns some new traits that'll be helpful. So you can see this governor provides +4 happiness, decreased construction time, clear blocker time, and the slave mineral output. So that wasn't clear on the actual recruit tab that he had these other modifiers. But every leader kind of has will help out your sector in some way, so it's always better to have a governor when available. Tip number 4 is don't float a lot of resources when you don't have to. So as you can see up here, we have 11,000 minerals and 900 energy. That is a lot of minerals that could be built or used to produce more mines, more factories, more research output, more ships. So we need to be using all the resources we possibly can to build stuff. So we're just going to build a ton of corvettes, because that's what our fleet composition is going to be consisting of. All the way up until we hit our fleet cap. Our fleet cap is over here. It's currently 267 and we have 222, so we can build another 45 ships before we hit that fleet cap. The other thing we want to do is move through all of our planets and ensure that everything is fully upgraded. As you can see on our home Earth planet, there's a lot of upgrades we can make. There's no reason not to make them, especially when we're floating all these resources. We're just going to upgrade everything we possibly can. It's going to take some time for all the upgrades to be built, but might as well queue it up if we're just floating all these resources that aren't doing anything else. So after you've gone through every planet and built every upgrade, hit your fleet cap, you want to start giving away your minerals and your energy to your sectors. So as you can see here in this tab, it'll show how many minerals, how much energy every sector has. So there's a few sectors that have very little minerals, so we're going to go ahead and give them both 1,000. We're going to start the time, and you'll see this slowly degrade or decrease over time. That means that they're building stuff. You see that the one down here, the southwest sector, used up all of those minerals, so they're building a lot of stuff on their planets. We're just going to keep feeding them minerals until we run out. So tip number 3 is to use the AI as your banks in any multiplayer game. So we're going to come on over to this AI player. They currently don't like us a whole lot, but we're going to offer a trade deal. We currently have an energy deficit, so we're going to give him some minerals or some energy. We're going to max it out so that we get to +1. They'll accept it if it's +1. So we're going to give him 461 minerals for 400 energy. So if we were at 0, drastically needed energy, but we had a mineral surplus, just send that trade offer over, and then he'll float our energy for a little bit. If your energy gets to 0, you're going to get some massive negative modifiers to your research and to your mineral output. So it's always better to have a little bit of energy than none. And over time, with that positive balance, it'll pay off. So anytime you're running low on a resource, you really need that extra minerals to build that colony ship, use your AI neighbors as your banks, because they usually have enough resources. That allows you to get that little edge to get that colony ship out, 2 to 3 months earlier before your players, so that they can, so that you can go back to tip number 10 and expand as fast as possible. All right, tip number 2 is to use droids whenever you can. I love droids because they have a great habitability bonus and they have a +15% on minerals. So when you have a lot of empty tiles like this, and you don't need energy, what I like to do is put a droid on there and then build a basic mine. We're going to speed this up, and the population will still increase, but so will the robots, and the robots will get there a lot faster than a new population depending on your food income. As you can see, their growth progress is +1 per month. That means that in 30 months they'll be at full pop, and they will mine this mine here with a +15% increase in mineral production. There's really no reason to have any of your pops mining minerals. Robots can do it way better with a better efficiency. Of course, robots do get expensive with energy, so if you're not floating a lot of energy, I would reserve that energy to bust out more colony ships so that you can keep expanding. The other great aspect about robots is it allows you to really exploit every tile on a planet a lot quicker than if you just relied on population income. Our final top 10 tip is in the early game, you want to focus on minerals. As you can see at our home system here, we lucked out. We got a ton of minerals in our home system. +2 on Mars, +2 on Vesta, +2 on Titan, +3 on Venus, and then another +2 on Triton. So this allowed us to expand very quickly in the early game, build up all our mining stations, and really exploit every resource in our close proximity. In the mid to late game, energy is where it becomes really problematic, and you want to focus on energy production in the mid to late game for all of your tiles, so that you can bust out as many colony ships as possible to exploit every other resource. In the mid to late game, minerals aren't as important because when you put out all the colony ships, you'll be able to exploit all of these resources that are coming within your borders. So that concludes our top 10 tips for multiplayer in Stellaris. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be streaming some more Stellaris content and uploading more episodes of our Trump Empire. As always, if you guys like it, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys later.